What's good, YouTube? I'm King Bino, 1/4 of the Nothing But Action podcast, the number one Thunder and Westbrook fan in the world, and today I'm going to be trying something a little new. My fellow podcast co-hosts have been pushing me to start making content on the channel, so I decided, just like Russ, why not? Please drop a like, subscribe if you want to see more, as well as comment feedback, as it'll be much appreciated. Now let's get to how the Los Angeles Lakers should navigate the 2021 NBA free agency. As we all know, the Los Angeles Lakers recently pulled off the trade to bring Russell Westbrook back to Los Angeles for Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, KCP, and their 2021 first-round pick. But in building that new big three of LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook, the Lakers have gutted their depth, and with everyone questioning how the big three will work due to its lack of three-point shooting, the Lakers now look to free agency to fill their needs. So before y'all go to overreacting and judging the trade and saying the Lakers have no spacing and it won't work, here's what the Lakers should do to make their roster championship level. Number 1, sign and trade Dennis Schroeder. Considering how Schroeder's time with the Lakers ended, it's safe to assume they wouldn't be looking to bring him back. And as we head into free agency, the teams that would have the money to sign Schroeder outright are low, so that makes the Lakers working a sign and trade with a 27-year-old point guard more than likely. Now, I'm not sure what exactly the market for Schroeder is, so I looked throughout the teams and came up with a few scenarios where the PG could find a new home and the Lakers could get some much-needed spacing. Number 1 would be reworking the Russell Westbrook trade to get Buddy Hield. How this could be done would be sending Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and maybe some seconds to the Kings and signing trading Dennis Schroeder 4 years, $80 million to the Wizards. Now some may ask why the Wizards would do this. Schroeder could increase his value next to Beal, and the Wizards could look to flip him in order to have that cap space next year they hope to use to keep Beal happy. Meanwhile, Buddy Hield will provide some great spacing as he's been one of the best three-point shooters since he's joined the league with 1,115 three-pointers made on 40% shooting. In my opinion, Buddy should be number 1 on the Lakers' potential target list in a Schroeder sign and trade. Scenario 2, sign and trade Schroeder 2 years, $44 million to the Houston Rockets for Eric Gordon and Daniel House. Getting 2 quality shooters in LA would be ideal for the purple and gold. Gordon 35% from 3 as a Rocket and House 37% from 3 as a Rocket will fill the Lakers starting lineup, leaving them only to fill out their bench in free agency. As for the Rockets, Gordon has 3 years left on his deal and plays a position that is currently occupied by his young stars. Taking Schroeder for 2 years would save them money and fit the rotation as they look to move on from John Wall. Scenario 3, signing trading Schroeder 4 years, $68 million to the Pacers for TJ Warren and Justin Holiday. Warren, coming off injury that basically kept him out the whole season, will be healthy going into next year. Him and Justin Holiday are 38% three-point shooters and could help the Lakers with their spacing issues. My next scenario, sign and trade Schroeder 4 years, $68 million to the Wizards, but for Davis Bertans. Though the Lakers would get a little worse defensively, this move would also be giving them a 40% three-point shooter on 8 attempts to space the floor out for the big three. My final Schroeder sign and trade, and least likely of them all, in my opinion, is Schroeder 4 years, $64 million, going to the Sixers for George Hill and Shake Milton. This scenario only really happens if the Sixers are able to move Simmons. Otherwise, I don't see them putting a guard like Schroeder out there with Ben and Joel. Hill and Milton could provide some shooting off the bench for the Lakers, as they are both about 38% three-point shooters. This will lead the Lakers to fill out their starting spots to what I'm about to talk about next, their mid-level exception. Use the mid-level exception wisely. The Lakers have a $5.9 million exception they could use to sign a player or split between 2 players who want a little bit more than the vet minimum. And with reports saying that there are vet players out there who are willing to take a pay cut to play for the Lakers and compete for a championship, I took a look at the free agent list and pulled a few names of guys who I think could potentially join the Lakers on a mid-level in their quest to win a championship. Guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., Evan Fournier, Doug McDermott, or really anyone on that list could help boost the Lakers shooting for the next season. It is critical LA gets a good piece with their mid-level, because after that, all they'll have left is the vet minimum, which leads me to my next point. More pay cuts. After hopefully finding a good deal for Schroeder and using their mid-level wisely, they'll have to fill out their roster with vet minimum guys. And with guys like Dwight Howard, Rudy Gay, Wayne Ellington, and Avery Bradley linked to the Lakers, I don't think the Lakers will find this part too hard to do. Another thing the Lakers must worry about is the potential of losing Alex Caruso and THT. In my opinion, anything over $5 million offered to Caruso and anything about $6 or $7 million offered to THT, I don't think the Lakers look to match. THT is a restricted free agent though, So if the market isn't that high on him, I expect him to be back in the purple and gold next season. Finally, I took the time and made my dream scenario for the Lakers free agency and put together what I think is a realistic championship roster that'll get my man Russ his well-deserved ring and solidify LeBron James as the GOAT in my eye. Starting with doing the Buddy Hield sign and trade and getting Tim Hardaway Jr. to sign for the mid-level, it would give the Lakers a starting five of Russell Westbrook, Buddy Hield, Tim Hardaway Jr., LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. I then brought back some former Lakers and Dwight, who hopefully would only play when Russ is on the bench, Bradley, Morris, and McLemore. Finally signing Rudy Gay and Wayne Ellington to the vet minimum. They would also still have Marc Gasol on their roster, which would give them some front court depth. Now, what happens with Caruso and THT is obviously up to what the market thinks of them, because the Lakers could only do so much. But I believe if AD is willing to play the five like the reports say, then this team will work well, Westbrook and LeBron will thrive, and finally, the Los Angeles Lakers will be your 2022 NBA champions. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you guys want me to drop more videos like this in the future. Remember to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at KingBino27, link in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm out.